I do have a presentation. Obviously, I want to talk to y'all about UIW's PT program and just kind of basically talk about everything you need to get into the program, prerequisites, why you should consider the field of physical therapy in general, and just kind of the importance with that. But just a little bit about myself. As you mentioned, my name is Josh. I'm our Director of Enrollment. I just recently accepted this position last July of 2020. Previously, I was over at St. Houston State University, where I was the Assistant Director of Recruitment. And then before that, I also served as a regional admissions counselor, where I got to recruit all over South Texas to get students to come to St. Houston. Before that, I was a substitute teacher and I coached football, baseball, strength and conditioning, and soccer as well at the high school level. And then, of course, my educational background. I'm actually originally from California. I was born and raised there, lived there my entire life. Loved it, beautiful area, lived right by the beach, lived between San Diego and Los Angeles. So definitely Texas is a little bit different. But enjoyed my time out here. So after graduating high school, I went off to the University of Oregon. And at Oregon, I kind of got into different fields of study, just kind of all over the place. I majored in business, Spanish, and got minors in music. Don't know why, all over the place. Undergraduate degree was just kind of a good opportunity to explore these different fields. And then I had a buddy, after I graduated, encouraged me to pursue a master's degree. And at Concordia University, Irvine, they have a really unique program. They have a Master of Arts in Coaching Athletics Administration. My ultimate goal one day is to hopefully get into athletics administration or kind of continue that route to work with student athletes in higher education. And then recently, due to the pandemic, I thought it was a good opportunity to get a second master's degree. So I actually just completed a Master of Science in Exercise Science from the same university. So yeah, now I have two master's degrees and just really excited to work with the School of Physical Therapy with students who are in the same field of kinesiology, exercise science, and wanting to go off and make a difference in the future and just kind of impact the different individuals, whether it's in Texas or throughout the United States. So with that said, with my position, I get to go to different universities and speak to different students just like y'all. And hopefully, if you don't go to UIW, not a big deal. But just the point to talk about physical therapy and just the options it has to really make an impact all over the world. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and talk about UIW's DPT program. And you all should be able to see my presentation there. So basically UIW, y'all aren't too far away. You're at Schreiner University. So for us, UIW was founded in 1881. Been around for a really long time. It was founded by the Sisters of Charity, and they originally came down to the San Antonio area where they wanted to treat the cholera outbreak and really make an impact and establish a healthcare system. So they did that and established a university, and it was originally called the University Incarnate Word College, and they kind of developed that. And for us as a School of Physical Therapy, we actually were founded in 2012. So even though the university has been around for a long time, the School of Physical Therapy itself is relatively new. It's seen a handful of cohorts go through the program, but basically what they found themselves upon or just kind of created a foundation is based upon service. We want our students to come in to learn from some of the best professors and individuals so that you can go on and serve others. Specifically, we want to target individuals in underrepresented and underserved areas, whether it be in Texas or throughout the United States or anywhere in the world that you may go to. We want our students to have that heart and really go on to make a positive impact on them wherever they go. So with that said, I do have some program highlights. We are one of two universities that are part of a Catholic institution that houses a School of Physical Therapy in the lower side of the United States. In our program too, it's only 2.5 years. A lot of PT programs can range from 2.5 years to 3 years. We just changed our curriculum to match a 29-month long program. And we also include 34 weeks of clinical education. Now with the clinicals, a lot of our students can go on in either San Antonio, different parts of Texas, anywhere throughout the United States. but we also have international opportunities where our students can go and get that hands-on experience in Guatemala, in Mexico, Germany, Italy, where you get to go and meet these different individuals and get that hands-on experience. And for us, what's really great is that we are not on main campus. We have our own campus located in the Northwest San Antonio region. So with that said, we have our own very 50,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility where our students get to utilize that building just for themselves. They don't have to share with any undergrads or any other programs. That facility is designed for them. And the building features different labs, like a neuromuscular lab, a cardiopulmonary lab, a gait and analysis lab. And what's also really cool is that we have a community clinic that is attached. And the community clinic allows our students from the very first semester to get hands-on experience working with different members of the community. But more importantly, it also serves as an opportunity to serve individuals who do not have access to healthcare or health insurance, or their health insurance may not cover physical therapy. So it's a great way for us to kind of stick to our motto and kind of give back and serve others that are a part of the surrounding area. With that said, kind of continuing on with the facility itself, we do have our very own library. And then we also have different lecture halls for our students, and we also have breakout rooms. Now, I do have a virtual tour that you'll be able to check out here in a minute. But what's really cool with our breakout rooms, it can usually fit around 8 to 10 people, but there's also cameras on the walls. And the cameras are there for research opportunities, for opportunities to record yourself, conduct presentations, whatever you may need it for. The entire building is equipped with high equipment and technology that can really kind of enhance your learning experience there. So with that said, y'all should be able to see it and hear it. If you can't hear anything, it's just literally background music, nothing special. So let's see if this plays.
Am I supposed to click the play button?
Oh, is it not playing?
I'm sorry, Josh. What'd you say?
Is it not playing? It's playing on my end.
Oh, it's not playing on my end, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hit I can hit the like the start button, but I don't know if I'm supposed to do it like individually or if you were playing it and it was supposed to play on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already a minute in my video, so I'm sorry I didn't know it wasn't playing.
Let me click the play button and see what happens.
All right, that's funny.
All right, now it's playing on mine. Is it playing on anybody else's?
I can make mine play, but mine played when he started his.
Okay.
Yeah, you can self-select the play.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I should play the rest of it.
I can always watch it after. Has everybody? I don't know. Is everybody? There's a chat, right? There's the chat. I was trying to make sure that everybody got to see the video that wanted to see it. All right, I just finished the video, so I'm assuming everybody else got to watch it as well. If they,
Yeah, it just finished on my end as well. So we'll go ahead and move forward. Sorry about
Right.
that. That's funny. That didn't work. Here we go. All right. So now that y'all got the opportunity to check out the facility, now just kind of want to talk about what makes our program unique and why it kind of differs from any other PT program in the state of Texas. And for us, what we like to do and how we teach our students is we use a method of problem-based learning. Now, what that is or why it's different from traditional learning is instead of sitting in a boring 2-hour lecture, trying to listen to a professor, take all these notes, try to prepare for all these tests, we want our students to be a part of the learning process. So what we do is we place our students in groups to 6 to 8 students per group. And basically our professors will assign different case studies where our students will get to conduct their own research and come up with the best kind of situation or plan to help out that specific patient in that case study. And what that does, it really brings the students together as a whole to kind of collaborate and learn together. And they also use the professor as a guide. The professor is not going to tell them if they're not going to tell them the right answers or wrong answers, but they are going to point them in the right direction to make sure that they're getting the necessary research and experience needed to best help that patient in that case study. Our students love it because it's hands-on, it's active learning, and we do a lot of studies and statistics show that our students have performed better on the National Physical Therapy exam because they remember what they did hands-on. They can think back to specific examples that they've done in class, especially when they're out there doing their clinical rotations. They've already done it. They've already had the hands-on experience. And so it really helps prepare our students out for the field and also when it comes time to taking that exam. So with that said, our model, like I said, the program's around 2.5 years long. So we like to break things down into different areas or specialties of physical therapy. So kind of the first part of the program, you'll be focusing on the musculoskeletal injuries, then neuromuscular, and then you'll focus on the cardiopulmonary and the other systems that apply to the field of physical therapy. And then the last section there you can see will be focused on the 34 weeks of clinical education. How the clinical rotations are broken up, it'll be 3 different sections. It'll be 14 weeks, then 10 weeks, then another 10 weeks. So by the time our students get to that, they're pretty much on their own. And then after that, they graduate from our program, and then they go on to take the licensing exam and hopefully start practicing. So with that said, I also want to share kind of what the typical schedule is. Understand this is a doctoral program. Obviously, it is demanding. It's going to be tiring, and you're going to come across certain obstacles. But we want our students to be prepared and understand that you do have resources at the School of Physical Therapy. And this schedule right here just kind of shows you how long our classes are. So you can see that this is for our first-year students, where you'll have your morning classes and afternoon classes. And they're not too long. They're usually 2 to 3 hours, depending on what class you're in. And then you also have the community clinic that you're participating in at least twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, working with the different patients that come into the clinic each week. With that said, we do have specific courses that are associated with our program. And these courses will have the same title throughout the program, but the subject material that you'll be learning each year will be different. So for example, you'll have PT reasoning, patient-client management, foundational sciences, professional topics. Those are going to be present all throughout the program. Just the subject material may be different. So for example, for our first-year students, let's take foundational sciences. They are currently doing a clay anatomy class. And with that clay anatomy class, they get to basically construct skeletons and kind of basically set up the different, nervous system, muscular system, and just kind of learning with your hands and kind of getting a visual representation of what the body is like from the inside. And as you can see, there is plenty of time to eat and relax, do homework, collaborate with your cohort members, and of course, you have the weekends that you're free to study and do whatever you want to. Now, with that said, for our faculty at UIW, we want our students to know that we have a 10-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. We have a lot of faculty And with that said, we have core faculty and we have a bunch of adjunct faculty members as well. And what's unique is that they all come together and represent different states and different regions of the United States. And they all have terminal degrees. And 86% of them are board certified in some sort of specialty in physical therapy. That's really cool because all of our students are learning from these different areas, and they can apply that. And what's also great is that we have what's called the Capstone Project. There are 3 capstone courses in our program, and the capstone projects allow you to work with different faculty members to come up with different research projects where you can work with them and have your work published even before you graduate from our program. So for example, let's say you're interested in sports research. Well, we have a sports certified faculty member. They will take 3 to 4 students and you'll come up with a research topic. You'll do your research, you'll publish your information, and that's a great thing to put on your resume, like I said, even before you graduate from the program. So it's kind of cool to put your name on that and kind of be recognized in the field of physical therapy even before you graduate or after you graduate as well. That is our faculty. They are very hands-on with our student. They understand that, again, it's a doctoral program. It's tough. They'll give you their cell phone numbers. So if there's anything that you need personally or professionally, they're there to help you. That's kind of the nice personal touch that kind of I appreciate from the outside perspective of our faculty members go above and beyond to really make sure that you are successful in our program, and really will make sure that they'll push you through the 2.5 years, and they want to work with you. They want to see you succeed. So that's just kind of what they do at the School of Physical Therapy. The next part is just kind of the student experience. Like what's it going to be like? You know, what's it like being a student of physical therapy? We want our students to have a good time, right? So we do have class options, which provides student leadership opportunities for our students where you can conduct different events. And these different events can be community service based. They could be social events, professional activities. And then, of course, what we have are paid positions as well. We do have paid positions. If you're an ambassador or peer tutor for our program, we will pay you to represent or help others through the program. And then we also have different events that occur throughout the year. And with these events, you know, it's just kind of the student experience to make sure that you have a good time. We all love the holidays, at least I hope you do. We love Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we try to throw fun events throughout the year just for our students to relieve some stress, have some fun, and take a break from your studies. On top of that, we have some other cool events that are student related, like a student retreat where our faculty members go off with you during the beginning of your first semester just to kind of prepare you for the rigor of the curriculum. And then we also have a really cool event called PT Olympics. Now, the PT Olympics is where our physical therapy program gets to compete against the other PT programs in the state of Texas. They all come together and they play different games like dodgeball or tug of war, volleyball, basketball. So it's a really cool event where our PT students get to compete against other PT students from these other programs across Texas and hopefully declare or become winners amongst the competition there. So it's a really fun event for our students to participate in. The next part, I really don't have to talk about this slide for y'all. Y'all are close by, San Antonio. We all know it's awesome. It's a great place. Again, being from California, different cultures, different everything, right? And so you come to an awesome place like San Antonio where you have the Alamo, you have the downtown area. If you want to take a ghost tour, you can do that. Hopefully we can get professional sports back where we can go see some games in person sometime soon. And then, of course, you have fun events like Six Flags and SeaWorld. So again, we really want to stress that, yes, you're in a hard, tough program, right? But it's important to take care of your mental health and to make sure that you are relieving some stress and having some fun on the side. This next information is just some graduate outcomes of our specific program. And just to kind of break it down into a few areas, we have the employment rate, the National Physical Therapy overall pass rate and graduation rate as well. And then for our cohorts, we try to shoot for at least 54 students. So for the incoming class will be the class of 2023, though we are shooting for around 54 students. Hopefully within the next few years, we are looking to increase the class size to around 75 students. And we're also looking to implement an occupational therapy program at UIW as well that would fall under our school. So with that said, you can kind of check out the different rates with employment. Our students have zero issues finding jobs after graduation. It's around a 98% employment rate. Typically, where our students go off and do your clinical rotations, that's where you'll have the opportunity to connect with the different clinics and find out if you want to work there full time after graduation, or we'll help you build connections in finding a job after you graduate as well. For us, what's really important to you is that we have a 98% passing rate on the National Physical Therapy exam. The whole point of going through our program is to pass that exam, right? You have to pass it in order to practice. And so we want our students to succeed. What we do is that any exam that you take with us, we try to emulate that exam, right? It's a 4-hour exam. You got to take it in one sitting. So you best believe that our tests are going to be 4 hours long. You're going to take it in one sitting so that by the time you take that licensing exam, you're already ready. You're already prepared to pass that. And so we have a pretty good passing rate on that where our students see success. Other than that, we have a 96% graduation rate for our students. We do have some students, as you can see, that don't continue with the program. We understand that things pop up in life, things change, circumstances change. Heck, this whole past year has been crazy. And we're willing to work with students to help you make sure that you have the proper resources to finish our program. So we really haven't had any issues with that besides 1 or 2 per year. Other than that, the biggest thing that I love about physical therapy, it has such a positive outlook. You think of why physical therapy? Well, U.S. News Rankings basically selects the field of physical therapy to be in the top 10 as some of the best healthcare jobs in the United States. The average salary in 2018 was around $88,000. Not bad. That's a decent living that our students get to make. And so there's a positive outlook there. And then most importantly, there's going to be job growth in physical therapy, right? There's going to be more jobs that are expected to grow within the next few years here up until 2028. And of course, it hopefully will continue past that. And then for us, the number one reason is you like helping others, right? You want to make difference. You want to make a difference. You want to see people get healthy and happy. And it's just a great job where you get to work hands-on with different individuals from all backgrounds. So for us, kind of the application process, and it's kind of the same at other PT programs. Some prerequisites may differ, but everything is going to go through this website called PTCAS. You are going to fill that application out, and there's different questions that you have to fill out. So you want to make sure that you are thorough in answering all those questions. And then there's certain documents that we need. All the documents that we need are going to be the official college transcripts. Whatever college, whether it's community college at Schreiner University, you want to make sure that you have all of your college transcripts sent over to us or sent over to PTCAS so they can verify that. And the next would be the official GRE scores. With the GRE, you can take that multiple times. If you have multiple test scores on file, make sure you send that over so we can review it. We do super score in our admissions process, meaning we are going to take the best score from each section of the GRE exam to kind of highlight that when we're looking at your application through the holistic review process. Other than that, we need 3 letters of reference, and 1 letter must come from a licensed physical therapist. So during your time right now, during your undergrad career, it's very, very important to get observation hours, because we do require students to get at least 50 hours of observation in at least 2 different physical therapy settings. With the 50 hours, that is a great opportunity to develop a relationship with the physical therapist that you're working with, and hopefully they can write you a stellar letter of reference for your application. So it's really important to kind of pay attention to that. Lastly, the unfortunate thing about applying anywhere is having to pay the fee. PTCAS has their own fee that they have. It's around, I believe, $140 for the PTCAS application. You pay that and you submit it. After that, we do have a supplemental application fee, and I'll kind of go over the dates. So we actually just closed our application cycle for this current cohort. Applications were open July 1st, 2020, and they remained open until actually February 1st, 2021. We did extend our deadline this year. Basically, as you saw, the supplemental fee, you have until August 31st, basically to pay that. And if you don't pay it, then, if you submit an application before, then you don't have to pay the fee, basically. And if you don't, then you have to. Other than that, we do have a rolling admissions process for our program. Basically, what that means is that the application will remain open until that January 15th date. As soon as our seats fill up, that's pretty much it. So for students who are waiting to apply last minute, the opportunities to get a seat in a program are pretty slim, just because the seats could already be filled by that time. With that said, if you happen to be put on a wait list, it's not the end of the world. The admissions wait list is a good position to be in. That means you weren't denied from the program. And we also often take students off the wait list as well. We understand that students are applying to many different PT programs. And so we have students that may drop their seat, drop their acceptance. And so we often pull from that wait list to kind of fill in those extra spots. So it's important. Don't be discouraged if you get on the wait list. It's not the end of the world. You're in a good position. And if you don't get selected off the wait list, that just serves as a good opportunity for you to improve your application the next time you apply to PT school. And again, what's important too, I feel like from what I've seen this past year is that a lot of students really do get discouraged about not getting into PT school. Understand PT school, it's a professional school. It's like medical school or law school. You are trying to apply to a program to become a doctor of physical therapy. So don't get discouraged. We always encourage students to retake any courses you got a C or below in, try to help boost your GPA, retake the GRE, go get more experience out in the field, go observe under multiple PTs and get that experience so you can come back, and by the time you're ready to apply again, you'll knock it out of the park and you'll be offered a seat in our program. So that's kind of the encouraging words I have for y'all with that. The next part are the prerequisites. Basically, you could be any major during your undergrad. Obviously, students in kinesiology, exercise science, biology, chemistry, you're going to be in a better position to apply to PT school because you have to take certain prereqs that are science-based. So for example, for our program, and this could differ by PT program, but for us, we do look at biology 1 and 2, and this is going to be like your general bio 1 and 2, and then you have chemistry 1 and 2 and physics 1 and 2. You want to make sure that all of these science courses do have a lab component to them, or basically 4 credits long. And then the next part of the science prerequisites that you need are going to be anatomy and physiology. Many universities have a combined anatomy and physiology course. So if you have that at Schreiner University, just make sure you take human A&P1 and human A&P2. If not, just take them as separate courses as anatomy or physiology. Other than that, we do look at kind of the neuroscience courses, which are going to be your psychologies. So we do want an intro to psychology or a general psychology course. And then we want an advanced level psychology, which will be your developmental, lifespan, or abnormal psychology. Other than that, we do look at statistics, and with your stats, it could be elementary stats, business stats, general stats. As long as you have a stats course, that will satisfy the prerequisite. Lastly, we look at medical terminology. We understand that some universities do not offer medical terminology, so if you can find a way to take that as a certificate course, that will satisfy the requirement as well. It doesn't have to be a letter grade, just make sure you get at least a certificate in medical terminology. The last part that's important to understand is that we understand that many students may be finishing up their application by the time they're applying. So it's okay to have some of these courses that are in progress when you're in the application cycle or process. That's just because, for example, this current cycle, students may be finishing up some courses in the spring semester or plan to take courses in the summer semester. Basically, with these prerequisites, they must be completed by the time you start our program. So for this current incoming cohort, they must have it completed by August 1st, 2021 in order to basically start our program. So with that said, I kind of wanted to highlight, and I promise we're almost done here, just kind of highlight some information on how you can make your application stand out, how you can be competitive in the application process. The biggest thing that we look at things from a holistic perspective. So we're looking at not just your grades, your GPA. We want to see how you're involved, what you're doing with different organizations. Are you involved with your community? Are you doing different volunteer work? Are you involved with different projects or organizations on campus? We want students to be well-rounded. We want students to be active and not just a bookworm focusing on their classes. So the more you are involved with different things in your community or on campus, that will help you stand out. The other part is going to be your observation hours. Obviously, we require just that 50 minimum observation hour requirement, but if you can get more, that will help your application stand out because it shows that you're getting experience in the different physical therapy settings. Then, of course, it also helps you develop relationships with other PTs, and it helps you stay up to date with the current different trends and events that are occurring with physical therapy. I do see a hand pop up. I saw Barry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
So I'm on the advisory committee for UTMB in their School of Health Professions. In their application cohort for last year, the average number of hours for applicants for observation was between 150 and 200. Can you tell me what the average number is for your most recent cohort?
Yes, sir. Surprisingly, it's actually a lot higher than that. It's been around 500 to 700 hours. I don't know why that's it. I think just because the averages, you'll have some students that have 2,000 to 3,000 hours, and then you'll have students that have like 60 hours. So that's kind of why it brings it up to that 500 to 700 hour range. But that is an excellent point. Other PT programs, you're getting students that have that experience. You're getting students that are out in the field. I will say it has been difficult given COVID. Many PT clinics have shut down or not let students observe in person. But it's really important that you can get experience virtually. Some PT clinics will allow you to do telehealth methods. Basically, what we're doing now is just observing through virtual methods. So that's been a good kind of backup resource for students who are trying to get that hands-on experience and observe and get some shadowing hours. Other than that, the other part is going to be more academically based. So one thing I want to focus on are your letters of reference. I can't tell you how often I see students apply with poor letters of reference. They are submitting references from individuals that don't know them at all or aren't basically just not good references. They don't talk about the person in depth. They don't talk about their abilities to overcome obstacles. So you really want to find someone like an academic advisor, a professor, a professional colleague, a former supervisor, someone who can talk about your abilities to succeed and overcome obstacles and talk about your characteristics and character overall to help you stand out as a good applicant. Just to make sure that there's some substance behind that. So quality letters of reference are very, very important. And again, you don't just have to get that one letter from a PT. If you can get all 3 letters from a PT, that will help your application stand out as well. Just again, because it shows that you're working with different PT clinics in these different settings. Other than that, of course, the bread and butter are going to be your GPA and GRE. With the GPA, we look at 3 sets of the GPA. We look at your overall GPA, we look at your last 60 hours GPA, and we look at your prerequisites GPA. In all 3 categories, we do tell applicants to get at least a 3.0 or higher. The average GPAs that we have seen for this cohort have been a 3.45 overall and a 3.5 prerequisite GPA. So again, it's important to get those A's and B's in those courses. And if not, definitely retake the prerequisite courses to try to get a B+ or higher, just because it can help your application stand out. Other than that, transitioning over to the GRE, we do recommend that students get at least a 150 in both the quantitative and verbal sections of that exam. We've done a lot of research that students that typically score below that 300 overall on the GRE do tend to struggle on the licensing exam and completing the PT program. So it's important to kind of shoot for that. If you don't get it, it's not the end of the world. You can always retest. And again, like I mentioned, we do super score, so we will take the best scores out of each exam that you have on file. Lastly, we do want students to get at least a 3 in writing. If you can get above that, that definitely helps you out. But those are just kind of the minimums that can help you be a competitive applicant and can help our students move on to the interview process. Now, one thing I didn't highlight here is kind of the admissions process and how that works. After you submit an application through PT-CAS, I will be the very first person as a director of enrollment. I'm making sure that you have everything submitted. I'm making sure that everything looks good. And then I submit that to our admissions committee for review. Our admissions committee is comprised of different faculty members that have volunteered to review applications. Basically, as I mentioned, they're looking at everything holistically and making sure that you can basically represent the program in a positive way. If they like what they see, both academically and with the observation hours and community service, they will invite you for an admissions interview. With the admissions interview, we do have students that come to campus, and we have different interview stations that students participate in. And then, of course, we have our own scoring or rubrics based on how you respond to the different questions that we ask students. It's a few-hour event, couple hours on a Saturday that we invite students. What we've been doing recently, obviously due to COVID, we haven't been able to do anything in person. We've been doing everything virtually. We use a platform called Bongo, and basically what it is you go in, you watch these different videos that our faculty have created, and they'll ask you certain questions, and then you'll record your response. Based on how you respond to that, they'll come up with a different point system. And depending on how you perform the interview and how you performed academically as an application as a whole, that's where we'll offer students a seat in the program. Typically, like I said, we're shooting for at least 54 students in our program and trying to fill that up. And then any students who don't make the mark will either be waitlisted or they won't be offered a seat in the program. So that's kind of how everything works thus far. The last part, this is my last slide to kind of talk about here, is kind of the importance of paying for school and how you get through a PT program. For us, UIW, it's a private school, so everything is set at a specific price. There's no in-state tuition or out-of-state tuition. So for us, you're going to pay a specific price every semester. It's not going to increase. It's not going to decrease. It's set all through 7 semesters there in our program, which is great. On top of that, that kind of comprises or creates the cost of attendance. We do put in a cost of books. We put in a cost of health insurance. And with the health insurance, you do not have to pay for that if you have your own health insurance. But other than that, that is what you're going to pay for our program. And then the other thing that's important is we do want students to apply for scholarships. Now, there are limited scholarships at the PT level or graduate level, but there are some available on our website that we want students to apply to. The other big thing too is when you're in a PT program, there are scholarships for first and second year students. So you want to make sure that you kind of search for those opportunities if you're already in a PT program, that those scholarships are available for you to help pay for the rest of your program. Other than that, we do have internal scholarships at UIW. The first scholarship is going to be given to you by our deans. Basically, they're looking at high achieving students, how you performed on the GRE, how you performed in the classroom with your different grades and GPA. Based on that, they will give students around $10,000 per semester if you are selected for that scholarship. They like to give out around 10 of those scholarships to our top qualifying students coming into the incoming cohort. Other than that, we do have an awesome grant. It's called the HRSA grant. We had 2 of our faculty members apply for that this past year. We were awarded $3.2 million. What this grant is meant for is to serve underserved individuals or underrepresented individuals. So if you come from a rural background, are a first-generation student, military students, are of a certain minority, you can apply for that scholarship. And if you are granted that scholarship, we are guaranteed to pay at least half of your tuition. We've had students get more than half of their tuition paid for just because we've had more funding available. But with this scholarship, we like to offer at least 17 of those to our students. So understand that you could have half of your tuition paid for if you qualify for that. Understand to qualify for that, there's two kind of important things. There's one, the application and the essay that you have to write. And then two is going to be based on your financial need. You need to submit a FAFSA application. Our financial aid office will determine your financial eligibility. There are also some certain tax documents that you have to submit for that. Other than that, if you do not get a scholarship, an external scholarship, internal scholarship, there is that financial aid. Again, at the graduate level, you aren't going to see a lot of grants available for students. You're going to see more of that Graduate Plus loan to help pay for the rest of your PT school. So that's basically how you pay for PT school. What's nice, again, 2.5-year program. It's a good investment. And as you saw earlier, a good salary outlook for students interested in the field of PT. So you'll have the opportunity to pay off any loans that you take out to go to the program. So with that said, that kind of concludes my presentation here. I do want to open it up to some questions. I'll stop sharing my presentation here shortly, but I wanted to provide my information. You can email me. It's my last name, hector@uiwtx.edu. I also have my phone number. You can text or call that number. That is my office line. And then if you would like to as well, we do have social media accounts that you can follow on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. So feel free to take a screenshot, take a picture real quick, and then we can go ahead and open it up to some questions. All right, should have stopped sharing.
So Joshua, given that you only accept around 50 to 54 or 55 students a year, on average, how many applicants are you receiving? How many applications?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we receive anywhere from 300 to 400 applications. Now, what's interesting with the PTCAS application, your application does have to be verified by PTCAS. So that's where a lot of students get held up, is through that verification process. But yeah, this past cycle, we've seen just over 350 applications come in for those 54 seats. So that's an increase from last year as well.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me contrast that with UTMB. UTMB had 1,300 applicants. So UIW is a legitimate option. We have a former student who is currently in the program. So it's a viable opportunity for our students.
Right. Yeah, we are on the national average there as well, compared to other Texas schools and schools around the nation. We know we have a lot of PT programs in Texas too. There's 14 total. There's Texas State that's right down the road, UT Health Science. But of course, kind of what differs us again is the curriculum and the length of the program as well. Again, some PT programs are going to be around 3 years. And then some PT programs only allow a certain number in their cohort. So Texas State, off the top of my head, I think they offer only 40 seats in their program. So there's less opportunity there. Cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I know some students on here have questions. So Josh, without compromising the integrity of your in-person interview at Incarnate Word, right? What are some things that our students can do to prepare if they are accepted for an in-person, or right now, I guess, virtual on-campus interview?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I tell students right now, it's kind of a cliche answer, is just to be yourself. A lot of students try to overthink the situation and try to prepare mentally of what questions they could ask. It's not going to be difficult questions. We're not trying to stump you or make you look bad. And so we want students to be able to portray or show us your personality, and show us your purpose and why you want to be PT. That's a big thing, is making sure that you're showing that through your responses. Um, and then another opportunity is just to, if you have the chance, is to speak with different faculty members who are PTs as well. They've all gone through it. They know the different clinical situations they could put you in. But again, the whole purpose is not to stump anyone or make you look bad. We want you to be able to think outside of the box and also kind of show your personality through those different responses.
Thank you.
I thought I saw someone typing in the chat box. But I also, again, I don't know if I took that down, my information too quickly. So there is my email as well, just in case y'all have any last minute questions that you didn't want to ask here virtually.
So it looks like I received an email from a student who couldn't be here. What are some practical things that I can do to prepare for the application process? Is what the email read.
Okay, yeah, so some of the big things is just to make sure that all your documents are ready to go, meaning you're ready to apply through PTCAS. A lot of the time students submit a PTCAS application but have a lot of missing documents. So if you're ready to apply, you want to make sure that all of your college transcripts are ready to go. We have students that have taken courses at multiple universities or institutions, and so they don't realize that you have to submit a transcript for every single one of those. The other one is to prepare in advance, I would say about a year out, and that really relates to the observation hours. We do have students that come up short on observation hours, so that is an important part of the application process. Our faculty really do want students to have that experience and to understand what the PT field is like. So making sure that you have that under your belt, and again, that's ready to go. Making sure that you have your references ready to go as well. Certain individuals that you've picked out already and have communicated to them, hey, I need you to write me a letter of reference. Many times, again, students submit an application, and some things that will hold them up from getting an interview is that they are missing a letter of record 2 on file. And so they can't move forward in that process. Other than that, of course, what y'all should already be doing is making sure you're getting the A's and B's in those courses and taking those science courses seriously, and really taking to heart what advice the faculty members will give you throughout your undergrad. I can't tell you enough. Again, we have a lot of students that retake some courses, so it's really important to kind of take advantage that the course that you're in now, making sure that you're getting a good grade the first time around and not having to wait or retake a course. So those are kind of a few steps, just kind of planning out in advance. This is not an application process that can be done overnight or should be rushed. It should be thought out thoroughly and planned ahead, so that students can prepare. The last thing I will say is apply early on in the admissions process. It's a rolling admissions process. It's first come, first serve, basically. If you can get in, get an interview, get your spot secured, then that will set you up for success. And of course, if you're applying to other PT programs, once you're getting all these different offers in, then you'll have the opportunity to kind of compare the different PT programs and choose the one that best fits your needs.
Great, thanks.
So there we go. So I'm not actually an exercise science major. I'm a sport management major. But I guess a question that I would have is, what would you say that you think your students enjoy most about your program specifically that you think maybe differs from other programs that are out there that they could also apply to?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I would say, so we have 4 student ambassadors, and kind of the best thing that I get to work with them is basically hearing their stories and their responses. So some of the things that stand out for them is just basically the personal interaction they have with our faculty members. As I kind of mentioned, our faculty members, they'll give you their phone numbers, they'll give you their availability, their time of day, whether it's at 9, 10 o'clock at night and you are struggling studying for a test and need something right away. They'll make sure that you'll get the help that you need. So that's a really good experience, is that our faculty members are very personable, they're very likable, and that they're there to guide you through that process. We also have extra faculty members, so normal PT programs don't have as many faculty members as we do. So again, it's just to kind of make sure that our students are there to see success. I think the other thing, it could be a double-edged sword, is our curriculum. Problem-based learning is definitely different from the traditional learning methods that students are used to. It does take a semester or even 2 semesters to get used to that, where students aren't used to be put into groups working with other students. And so that is a different transition that you have to get used to. But at the same time, they love it because they get to work with their different cohort members. They get to develop relationships with their other classmates. And they feel better prepared because you're getting different perspectives on a certain case study rather than just focusing on one way to help a patient. You're getting ideas from classmate A and classmate B, and then coming together to present kind of a holistic game plan to help that specific patient case study. So I would say those are kind of the 2 biggest things that our students enjoy about the program. That's a good question.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I know we have a few minutes till 4 o'clock.
Well,
Joshua, I would just like to say thank you for sharing. I feel much more informed now about this area. Has not been my specialty, but I feel much more informed having heard your presentation today. So thank you for being thorough and candid with your answers and such. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And, I thank y'all for spending time with me, the time out of your day to go over this. So I appreciate that as well.
Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated. And our students, those who are here, certainly appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, if y'all need anything else, like I said, feel free to email me, text me, call me, send up the bat signal, whatever you guys got to do. I'm here to help you out with any questions, comments, or concerns. So again, thank you for having me on today. So it was nice meeting y'all.
Thank you again, Joshua, for.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Joshua.
No problem. Thank y'all.
Dr. Robinson and Dr. Shaw is now gone, and Mac is now gone. So that's.
I think they all left.
Yeah, they did. That's fine.
They said out.
They were like later. Stop recording this.